Wow.
Oh, you looked it up.
Number 13. Well, actually, if you go to the YouTube page, I have them all labeled and normalized. I had to know how many we had. Yeah, and this is number 13. 13. That's pretty good. Yeah.
This is Saturday, so okay, we're okay. Yesterday was Friday, so.
Yeah, it's not Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's new, guys? What's everybody? Obviously, Tony's got some cool projects going on, and it seems like Always got something going on, which is awesome. Eves is just back from
vacation.
From Hamburg and from the Keys. That's like going from I don't know, Arctic to Bora Bora or something. Maybe not quite that bad, but
yeah, or going from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere about now.
You should have just went to Cuba, Eves.
I he's almost there.
Yeah, you could have swam.
Or canoed.
Or canoed, yeah. Or a raft of some sort, makeshift. Although I hear it's hard to go the other way though.
Yeah, I bet. When I flew in, I saw a bunch of Coast Guard ships too, so maybe they were doing some ops out there.
What's really weird, I don't know, when we were out there, it had to be late 90s last time I was there, but it's interesting how there's so many, the ocean can be just super shallow at points out there. There's sandbars out there that go way out. I mean, you can be out 10 miles and hit a sandbar, and you'll get people that will go out there on their boats and just hang out on the sandbar.
Yeah, that's a common Florida thing. What is it, Party Island, where they take 10 to 15 boats and they link them all together. So, from the distance, it just looks like a small landmass of boats.
So it's, kind of like China.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Marvin's not answering, so Marvin is either drinking his product, or he has his machine, or making it, or he's got his machine running. I suspect that could be, maybe he can't hear us.
Or he's turned on the camera and then went into the living room for something. So,
Hey, I had a thought earlier today, and we'll see.
Is it a dangerous thought?
It could be. It could be. I mentioned it to Eves, and we'll see. So we all use different software. I like, well, we kind of all have our own things that we like. I played with SolidWorks. I like Fusion a lot. You guys talk about CamBam, Sprute Cam. It would be cool if, over the course of the next week or two, if you think a week isn't long enough, we could do, have you guys kind of play with it over the course of that week and talk about, what you like about it, why you use it, how you use it. Just because I think there's a lot of people out there that are getting into this and they're like, okay, what do I want to use? Why use this tool over some other tool? And it's not that I think there's any one tool that's better than the other. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. But I think something might resonate with somebody else watching it. So if that's something you guys would be willing to do, that would be awesome. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm almost ready to settle with EsselCam.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's been working for you?
Yeah, it works really well.
How much was that?
Well, I haven't paid yet. I'm still doing the trial, but it's like $50.
It? What's it called? EsselCam?
ESTL. K-A-M, yeah.
Now, did you buy a seat of CamBam also?
No.
No. Oh, you're still working on your 40 then?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty generous with that. That's,
Oh, yeah. That's great. I mean, the same thing with EsselCam right now. I'm almost ready to pull the trigger, but every time you try to generate an NC file or do other certain things, it pops up a box to, the Nagware screen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm up to like 26 seconds now that I have to wait.
The pain isn't high enough yet.
No, I can wait 26 seconds.
If it starts hitting a minute, then
But then I'm thinking, well, it's $50. What the hell?
We're such a funny creature, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Well, that's like there was some guy. I showed him a video of some RGB driving lights for the new Mustangs, and he's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. How much is it?" I'm like, "Well, it's $149 for this, and maybe $10 for that." And he's like, "I want to light up one car, not 10."
Yeah.
I'm like, "How much did you pay for your GT500?"
$70,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I know I've got, one of the higher end cam softwares that the group is using, or nobody else is using but me, and that's of course SproutCam, and it for an all post version of it through Tormac is I think now about $1,700. It was
Wow.
like 50. Yeah, yeah. You've definitely got to have deep pockets and a need for it.
It's no worse than VCarve. It's VCarve can be up in those ranges.
Yeah.
Pro.
Well, and of course, two completely different end products. As far as VCarve is designed for doing artsy fartsy stuff primarily, and SproutCam is designed for doing mechanical parts. End plates and side plates and Z-axis modifications and we'll do.
That's not really the case. I've put all types of stuff through Aspire. It doesn't really care as long as you tell it the tool paths.
Is that right? Well, I that's I've never played with it, so because I was basing that artsy fartsy on the fact that most of the time when somebody says, "Yeah, I did this in VCarve Desktop or VCarve Pro or whatever," it's an artsy type product that they're a sign or a.
It's a small community though, and I think you get a lot of word of mouth. What are you using? Oh, VCarve Pro, so that's what they buy. I think VCarve gets a lot of word of mouth. Plus, vendors sell it. I think Laguna Tools with their routers sells basically you get a copy of VCarve Pro with it. So I think.
Yeah, but VCarve is a different SKU. So you have VCarve, VCarve Pro, and Aspire.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about SproutCam, then you need to put that against Aspire, not VCarve.
Oh yeah, well I wasn't necessarily putting one against the other. I just.
That's right. You use Aspire, right, Yves?
Yeah.
Do you have VCarve Pro, or do you just have Aspire?
I skipped it.
Yeah. Right to the head of the pack. All right.
Well, no, but there was a feature set that I was looking for specifically that Aspire had, that VCarve and VCarve Pro. It's a plug-in, and it's not like feature rich. It's an obvious plug-in versus it being built into Aspire.
I've seen guys on the gun forums use Aspire. Seems to be fairly popular with them too.
For doing engraving on.
I think they were doing all kinds of things with it. They were doing 1911 style grips. Lots of things.
Yeah, mostly because of the rotary aspect of it. Because I've seen people do gun stocks with Aspire.
Yeah.
I mean, it fully supports rotary axes, so that's kind of neat.
And that's in the $1,500 range too, right? Or is that more? Might be more?
No. Hang on, you're probably right because there's two. Let me look at Vectric's website real quick. But pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've seen people do small things like engraving the barrel with like the name and whatever, and then actual doing gun stocks with them. Yeah. And actually accessory mounts too. Like I said, it doesn't care, right? You're either giving it a 3D file or a DXF or You can give it IGSs, you can do SVGs, PDFs, anything that's vector, EPSs. It doesn't care. So as long as you have the tool, which you can actually vector the tool in it so it knows what the tool profile is, and you give it the feeds and speeds, it's really no different than anything else. I mean, the other thing is you could do CAD in it, which I've never used the CAD function in it. I always use something else for the CAD function, and then I use it for the tool pathing.
Oh, I think some of the stuff that I've seen, when people were actually doing their CAD in it too. So.
Yeah, that's impressive because it's not natively a CAD package.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Well, that was one
and
cool thing about CamBam is it's what I found was that you can export a DXF from a 3D package, and then you go in and then you've got like a weird pocket, but like you say you've got a round pocket, but then there's like a channel that shoots out. You don't have a full circle there, but you want a full circle to be able to cut that pocket right. And in CamBam, you can just draw another circle and say, okay, that's a pocket.
yeah.
Okay, I'm back, guys.
Marvin's back.
Yeah.
Everyone's back.
Hey, I was using my laptop. No, my laptop at 9 o'clock. I said, okay, time to turn on. I don't usually really use this laptop very often. I use my PC most of the time. So I turn on the laptop and there's no screen. It's a black screen. I'm like, what the hell is happening? So I had to go in recovery mode. I had to uninstall all the drivers because it's running Windows 10. And I'm running what you call the build, whatever, insider build. So it just upgraded and it just gets to black screen of death. So
Nice.
I'm back up and running again now. So.
Yeah. Anybody see the announcement where? Oh well, I think you posted it, Yves, that Android has got a big problem with
I
malware.
posted it, yeah.
That was John.
Oh, was that John? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually meant to go to Tyler because Tyler was asking me, how do you enable tethering? How do I make my Android phone tether? And I'm like, I don't know. I can tell you how to do it on an iPhone. You just plug it into USB or Bluetooth or however you want to do it and tether it. It works pretty easy. But I said, and then I was going to send him that link too, just to freak him out a little bit. But
Yeah.
Okay, so the differences between Aspire and the rest of the family is mostly the rotary and the 3D stuff. So Aspire supports STL, OBJ, 3DM, which I'm not familiar with.
3D metafile.
Oh, okay. And then it pretty much imports every vector file that you could possibly imagine. Versus VCarve, which looks like it'll do DXF, EPS, and Illustrator files, which that's actually pretty good. And also Aspire has all the child suites too. So if you notice, they have Cut 2D, Cut 3D, and VCarve, PhotoCarve, and all that crap. It's built into Aspire.
Yeah.
nice.
Which I use the 3D stuff all the time, which is really nice. I could just model something in like Poser or any other like 3ds Max type thing, and then dump it in there, and then boom, 3D car or rough, and then 3D mill it with a ball mill. The 2D stuff, 99.95% of the time, I'm using Fusion, and then I take that DXF and then dump it over to Aspire. Only because it's parametric, it's easier, the dimensions are clear cut. I mean, I'm sure you could do it in Aspire, but
I'm still surprised you don't do Cam in Fusion yet.
I told you it's just the workflow I'm working in, right?
I know.
For me to do that,
you'd have to break your workflow. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I'm gonna have to do that, especially if I start doing the other stuff. So, and it's like more and more. It's just easier. I get it. It's just a one-stop shop, but it's just like I dump it out of one, it auto imports into the other, and then.
Oh, that's kind of nice. How did you do that? Is that you just have it go into a directory that it watches or something?
Yeah, and then I have a script that loads it.
Nice.
Well, I had to make it easy because the wife uses it too, so. It's like, oh yeah, honey, just export something called a DXF and then move it into this folder. Open up app? No.
So, Tony, Estelcam, it says something about an experimental version for Arduino Uno clones. So what is this? It has an Arduino component too?
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. I want to play with that. So he's got his own machine controller. So it's essentially, think of it as a girdle replacement. Um,
Huh.
and yeah, so I mean you can run it directly from ExoCam. I don't know what the benefits are, but it's different, so I want to try it.
He doesn't have anything info about his controller, but huh? Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is that it supports a pendant directly, and I think it might be an Xbox controller.
Yeah, I think that's what he's mentioned.
That could be. They're
Testing
just
1, 2, 3.
USB, so that would be easy to implement.
Yeah.
I think that was posted in some. He actually created a post somewhere on the Inventable site about that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Cool. I'm just creating a little document just to talk about what everybody's running, just so I know. But cool. Marvin, what's going on?
Yes.
What are you working on?
My beer totes.
Your beer toads. Oh yeah,
You
those
got
are
any
cool.
done?
No. Eventually I changed up because when I bought the wood, I was thinking that I was going to use 532. 532. No, sorry, 1532. It's this wood. It's called. It's like a plywood. But when I went to the lumber yard, I didn't like how it looked. So then I bought birch, which is half-inch. So I had to redo it. And I can't do it on my machine because it's just too small. The tote is 12 inches long, and the Shepuku can't go more than 11.5 inches max. So, and if I make it any smaller, then the beer can't fit in there because the beer bottles are a certain size, you know? So I'm like, ah. So I know somebody that has a large CNC, so I'm going to give it to them to do it. They're 5 feet by 9 feet.
Oh wow.
So they're going to do it, but I have to do everything. And the problem with it is that when you buy the wood is not cheap. So you want to make sure you can't test one or two and say, okay, everything works. So you have to keep on looking back at the file and say, okay, is everything right? Is your pockets the right place? Is your measurements right? You know? So
Yep.
hopefully it works.
Going through that right now with end plates. That same exact thing.
So, and I mean, it's not like you can say, hey, let me test a few and look at it because it's
Yeah.
costly. You're like, okay, I hope it's all good. You know, you run it through the simulator and it's like, all right, it looks good. And then I'm doing 6 on 1. So I nest them and then I run 6. So it's not like you're running 1, you're doing 6. So they're all over the place and you're like, okay, hold on, slow down. You know? But I think what I did is I'm learning Aspire a little better now. So I'm putting everything on layers. So whichever pocket I'm doing or profile I'm doing it on a layer.
Yep.
So I can turn off a layer, turn on a layer, you know?
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, so before I never used to do that before. I just did it. And now I'm like, oh, that's the worst thing to do.
It's awesome because, like, for example, if I'm doing something double-sided, and if you look at the tool path, you can't see the other side because the tool path of the other side's covering it. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I like the layers, and you can put different colors, and you can, you know, it's really interesting the way you're doing it. So like what I was doing is like what you call a T-bone fillet.
Yeah, dog bone.
Dog bone. No, this one is T-bone. On Aspire it's called T-bone.
Burnett?
It says on Aspire, if you go to if you go to your Aspire, fire it up. If you go to if you go to fillet, create fillet, it will say T-bone, normal.
Oh, do you know what the description says next to that? It's for plasma. So what are you doing?
No. It's not. That's the bottom one. The middle one I'm talking.
Okay.
The
Huh.
middle one says T-bone.
Okay.
So I'm like, T-bone. So I use it for T-bone for the middle one because I want to. It's hard to explain, but it's like a dog bone. Not a T-bone. It's a dog bone, but they call it T-bone.
Using two different terms for the same thing.
Yes. Yes.
That's just the funny terms that Easel uses for their different operations. What are you talking about? That's
So-
an inside or an outside profile, or that's a pocket. You know,
Right.
hello.
Marvin, do you want me to test cut it, or what do you want me to do?
Oh, you can test cut it for me? Ooh.
What? Well, I mean, I have a machine big enough.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. What let me do is that I will send you work on the file by the end of the evening, and by tomorrow I'll send you the file, which is a single one, and you can test it and see if it fits for me.
No, you sent me the entire.
No, I did that over.
Oh,
He's got an updated version there.
I got an updated version because then and I'm like I didn't like it. But what would on the test wood? What size would you be using?
well, you just need to tell me the thickness, and that's it.
For its the actual thickness I'm gonna give you is 0.47.
Inches?
Yes. If not, I can get you 0.49. I can get anything. I can change it to anything.
No, I need it to, well, at 18.7 millimeters. Okay. Oh, yeah, I do have something. Oh. But no, because if you change that, that means that they won't slot into each other anymore.
Yeah, but I can fix it. So I mean, the change of the dog bone and thing, that's easy fix. So
Okay.
you tell me what you have, I can fix it, and I can make it to that size. Cause that's an easy change.
Okay, and what's the tallest piece? Like the sides, how tall are they?
11 inches.
What's
No,
that?
12 inches.
Okay.
Sides. It goes extended 12 inches.
Okay, so
And my Shapeoko can only do 11.5, so that's where my pickle is.
No, not length. So when you're looking at it left and right, what's the vertical height? Like what's the maximum that
So
way?
you-
The reason why I'm asking is because I do have wood that's thick enough, but I have to plane it down. But the board itself is, I think, I'm looking at it right here. I'm guesstimating it's 10.5 inches. The length, it's like 4 feet. But what's the maximum? I'll open the file and figure it out. Don't worry about it. I got it.
No, because they come in pieces and you put them together. Because I'm
Oh,
like, comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could take whatever you send me. If you send me the Aspire file, then I could reposition it. It's not a problem.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send you the new ones and.
Okay, cool.
Cool. That's awesome. That would help me before I give it to this guy and I'll get. He's like, well, Marvin, nothing worked.
yeah.
So you're actually sending him G code, or how's that working?
So I'm going to sell him the G code eventually.
Ballsy.
That's
Yeah.
ballsy, yeah. That's
Yeah. Make sure you got a post processor for his machine.
Yeah. We figured out what the post processor would be. So
So he
Alright.
uses Aspire?
no, he doesn't. That's the problem.
Yee.
So, okay. Now I have to ask. So why are you using Aspire?
Because I have Aspire, I have been using it, and that's where I'm comfortable using.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's what I use too. Okay.
So,
I thought you were using it because that's what he was using.
no, I'm using it because that's where my comfort zone is. You know.
Okay. And you can't just give him a flat DXF or something?
Yeah, I could give him a DXF.
Okay, that'd be safer.
Yeah, lots of let him generate the G code. I'm surprised he's letting you give him G code.
He's
Yeah.
like, no, let me tell you, this person is like, oh my, I think he doesn't think very well because when I call him and say, hey, I need you to do this, okay, no problem. And what do you want it in? Whatever you have. I says, I use Aspire. I don't know what that is. Do you want the G code? Okay, send me the G code. So I'm like, okay, you don't want those people that just, okay, just send me that, you know?
Wow.
He's Jamaican, right?
Yes, everything is like, oh, no
Okay.
problem. Take your
Okay.
time. I don't care.
He works on Jamaican time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
So he's like, oh, do it for me. I'll do it for you. No. All right. So let me share my screen. Let me just go screen share.
It's on the left. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to send G-code, definitely find out what machine he has and what version of the software that it's running so
All
that
right.
you can make sure you've got a post-processor for that machine.
All right. You guys see the screen here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this is how I've set it up. This is a 5x5 because I can buy the wood by 5x5. But I won't send you this. I'll send you the one.
Okay.
So here, let's go here. File, open, and I'll go. That's a new. I'm working on a new version, and I'll go this one, and then change it.
It's funny. I have a beer tote also, but it doesn't look anything like this. That's so funny.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem with that. Okay, now that beer tote makes more sense.
Right. So this is the bottom where you're gonna have a little pockets here.
Yeah.
And this is the top where the beer goes through here. This is the handle. So here is where I need to change. So for instance, if I wanted to change it, let's go over here. I could go and go here, edit. Oh, sorry, no, let's go here, do close. Ooh, I hate this mouse. And turn off this. So I can go no. Let's go drawing, and I go to here, and it says T-bone fillet. See there, dog bone, T-bone, plasma. I'm like, oh, okay. So I can go here and take out these like that. And this is based on the thickness of this here.
Yeah, and then you just dimensionalize the box.
And I just dimensionalize the box, and then I just put it back again, whatever I want. So if I want to go that way.
That's so cool. I do it the same way.
So
Yeah, one of these. I need to on the next call. I'll load up one of the elaborate, redonkulous furniture pieces that I have to do. It'll just be covered in lines. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just all the tool paths and how many
Yeah.
things I gotta do. And it's all, some of it's double-sided, so it's like you can't see stuff. And nuts.
yes.
Yeah. See.
So this is the one I'm going to send him. So what I had to do is what he did is to tell me that I had to do the nesting prior to the
Tool paths, yeah.
the tool paths, or it won't work. So this is all nested, which is 8 of them nested on a 5x5, 5 feet by 5 feet.
Wow.
And so if I go here,
6, 8 of them, huh?
yeah, 8. And if I go here and go toot, toot, and it's gonna go cut them all. Let's see, preview all. I mean, I just like it because I can see, I can, it does it, I can look at it.
Does it tell you how long it'll take to cut? In theory, or
It's wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, it says this is 8 hours worth of cutting, and I'm like, oh, I don't think there's 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is that I care less about the 3D part as long as the tool path looks nice. But my wife loves this feature.
Yeah, because I get to see where I make mistakes, and I'm like, oh, where is there a
Exactly.
mistake?
Like if you're V-carving stuff, or if you're doing a pocket and a fillet, you can actually see, okay, that's too deep, or that doesn't aesthetically look nice. And
Yeah.
if you want to round over the edge, you can actually see, okay, I can actually go 2 millimeters less. Or yeah, it's really nice in that aspect.
And then you can see where I can put the tabs and.
Yep. Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does it generate tabs automatically?
Yeah, I can generate tabs automatically, or I can place them where I want to place them, and I can add 2 tabs, 5 tabs. I can.
Yep, and you can adjust height, width, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does-
I can do the same thing on CamAm.
Does it have a feature that will automatically, like you said that sheet is 5x5? Does it? You have to place them on there to use the sheet, or will it automatically place them on the
Oh,
sheet?
it automatically places them. So if I tell it, let's go here. So if I go nested objects, so I have all of this. So I tell it my tool. I tell the clearance I want between each part. I tell the border, the gap, on the border here, and I just say apply, and it just does it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I just highlight everything like that, and I say, okay, just do it, and it just does wherever it thinks it's marked to do it.
Well, I guess I better not play with my wife's butt on camera, huh?
We weren't presenting you. I'm presenting Marvin. Dave.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh yeah, as long as I'm not talking, it doesn't go full screen.
And then this is where I'm talking about you can pick off the layers and you can switch off which one you want to switch off. That's what I like about it now, and that's one I didn't do before. And then this one, let me show you another one. And new version. Come on.
Okay, that's the bottom.
Okay, I think that nesting might be worth the cost of admission.
That's pretty cool, I gotta say.
Yeah.
All right, so let's give you an example. This, I'm working on another one. So this one is kind of the same, but instead of having it go through the other side, so this will be the handle now. So this will go here, inside here, and there would be something underneath these little tabs here. And I'm going to put a little box here. And
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because that looks remarkably like our wine totes.
so I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out. So this one is going to go in the center, and there are going to be little two things here. So, like for instance, good example. So here, I want to nest them. So I just go here and say nest. I tell it the dimensions. I say I want, my tool is 0.25. My clearance is, I want 0.3 from each other. The gap from the 1 inch, and I go preview. It just puts everything where it needs to go. See?
Yeah.
Nice.
It just moves
And
things.
as you increase your material size, it'll add more and more of them.
Yeah. So I can add 10, and I'm like, okay, let me nest them, and I say, okay, can it work? Can it fit? Can it not fit?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's just 2 foot by 2 foot.
And so, like, he says that he uses another software. I only other software I can use is SketchUp. So I'm not very versatile with all of these, Fusion and all of them. So I use SketchUp and this. So a lot of times I try to draw in here. So I've gotten used to using it. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's not bad either.
Yeah, my biggest problem is precision because I'm like, for example, if I'm trying to, well, typically in Fusion, what I would do is draw one half of that and then mirror it to the other side, and then find a center and then put 2 cross lines. Okay, I want a hole here, and then I dimensionalize it to what is it called?
Parametric.
No, it's when you mirror, like when you make a circle and you want 16 of them, you mirror.
Oh
it.
yeah, the pattern.
An array.
The pattern. So then I would just pattern it, and then from there, then I would just remove the outside edge, and then you could do offsets to create additional circles. It's just, for me, ironically, is easier in Fusion than to even attempt to do something like that in Aspire.
And Aspire is hard to do because it's hard in terms of, because when I draw it, I have to, I want to measure it. Like, for instance, I want all of these to be in alignment. It's very difficult to say, okay, all of these align with each other now. If I were using SketchUp or one of those, I could just align all of them,
Yeah. Yep. It's kind of weird. I mean, the post-processing and CAM part, I love. It's one of the reasons why I really like Aspire, but the CAD part, I mean, aside from, like, putting text on things, it's not very good in that aspect. I couldn't draw like a circle with a circle and then text in the center, and then I want to put something at a specific distance in the center. Yeah. It's I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard as crap to do in Aspire.
That's true.
But that's awesome. That's cool.
I think Aspire has its greatest asset is the tracing.
Yep.
The post processor, the tool paths, setting up tool paths and things. I'm very comfortable using that,
Yep. Yeah, my favorites is, like, for example, I'll have one end mill, but I'll have 3 different profiles for it. One for plastic, one for light aluminum, and one for wood. And then you can create subfolders for it's called your tool chest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really nice too is that where that folder is stored, you can actually share it. So when my wife loads it up, and if I add a tool, it appears in her copy in Aspire.
Ah.
I like it.
I have Art Fusion, but I've tried to use it and I'm just not comfortable yet. I go back to my go-to, which is SketchUp. Hey.
Yeah, use whatever is comfortable. Nobody's. I mean, there's so many different CAD CAM packages out there. I mean, you just use whatever you're comfy with. That's all.
Yeah.
And to me, SketchUp is I'm not doing anything intricate enough or so great that I need this great cam and simulation that it turns and producing it for a customer. And for me, all I'm doing is, I want to cut a little box, a square little box. It's 2 inches by 2 inches, or 5 inches with a circle in the middle. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, Fusion's for, I guess, a different breed, I guess.
So, Eves,
Yes.
you didn't, did the mirroring come out okay on those files that I did?
Yes, I updated it. Actually, I made a copy of it. I updated it and added the end stops and the drag chain mount.
So, I've got a copy of myself too. So they have a different drag chain mount for the 1000mm. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? The is it an IGS or step? Whatever 3D model they provided is incomplete. It doesn't have the drag chains on it. That's why I didn't notice it when I.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that. So I found the actual bracket though. I've got it in my model. So yeah, you've got all the holes in standard places. So it looks like existing drag chain stuff that Inventables uses will work fine if they want to use it. That's all I was curious about.
Oh, so the drag chains will go as is?
Does appear so, yes.
Well, damn.
So if you here, let me share my screen real quick.
You've got Marvin presenting.
Oh, I do, don't I? Marvin went black. Stop presenting. Okay. How do I share? Right there. So, see that bracket, Eves? That's what they use on the 1000mm.
Oh. Okay, I thought
You
it
need
was.
to present yourself. There you go.
I'm not. I have to talk because. Hold on.
Yeah, you're presenting now.
Am I?
Yeah.
Present to everyone. Now I am.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just this funny little bracket that's only used on the 1000mm. They do it different on the 500. Why? I have no clue, because it would work fine on either of them. So I don't know. I don't know. They do some weird things, but.
Okay, so do I have to move the belt hold?
Well, I guess I haven't. I haven't tried this with everything on it yet. So
Okay.
I can send you that model if you want to play with it. It's.
Well, I have that one that's complete. Everything on the left is complete, so you could just dump it there to see.
Oh, okay. I'll try that. Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah.
I haven't okay. That's probably the next step. I need to fully populate a full-blown X-carve with all the new plates. I haven't done that yet. I have my machine, my model of my machine with those end plates and everything works. I didn't know on the X-axis where the drag chain went. I think it's a back plate or some kind, or a back bracket of some kind. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to take a picture for you. I'll do that while.
The existing, what they do is it bolts right to the gantry, to that center light thing. So they just bolt it directly to that. It seems like. There's also a little L bracket that they have. It could be that. I'll have to double check. But all we're talking about, guys, is for these end plates that we're developing is just to make sure that any existing X-carve hardware they may have would work with it. So if they had the existing X-carve drag chains and they wanted to upgrade to these brackets, they can still use them. That's the goal.
My machine is dirty as hell, so pardon the mess. Alright.
Notice I'm not in my shop. Dave knows
Me
what I'm
either.
talking about. Yeah, Dave knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen your shop since you got rid of the steam engine.
Yeah, I know. I've been lazy, and it's warmer in here, and yeah.
So while we're waiting for ease, I just have to show this.
Oh,
Pretty
back it
cool.
up, back it up, back it
Oh,
up,
back
away
it
from
up,
the
back it
camera.
up, back it 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 up.
Carbon.
Yep, all
Carbon.
CF. Yep,
Uh,
all. It's unbelievable how it weighs like nothing.
Tactical keychains?
No, actually, just there's a guy out here that he's the guy that sharpens all my kitchen knives. Carries weird stuff like that, and he had them, and I'm like, he showed it to me on purpose. I know, so.
Don't get me laughing. I get to coughing.
Yeah. So I was talking. So I'm a Patreon subscriber to the NYC CNC channel, and he does like a monthly hangout with whoever wants to join in. That's his Patreon members. So we did a hangout here a couple nights ago, and it was kind of fun. And he's getting a new mill. He's getting a big Haas. Is it the FN4 or something like that? It's a $100,000 mill.
Yeah.
And he's moving too, isn't he?
Well, he's moving, but he's buying this building.
Oh, gotcha.
So he's moving, and it's directly next door, so there will be no truck involved. Because I asked him about that, I was just like, so he's starting a new channel. He already did that. He's got a guns channel where he's going to start basically talking about stuff directly related to just guns and machining and that kind of thing. He didn't want to do that on the NYC CNC channel because he had gotten some feedback from schools who were using his stuff in class, and they really couldn't if he was going to have any stuff related to guns or ammo or anything like that on there. So,
Jeez.
I know. And he feels the same way, but it's the right decision. You just gotta be.
Oh yeah. You gotta be politically correct.
He's got a lot of subscribers and does okay with everything. So, yeah, life's been good to him for sure.
Yeah.
What are you doing? He's trying to get it presentable for us? Really? You have to
What?
clean for us. I thought you were going to show us something.
I did. I posted it already.
Oh, I thought we were going to get like live footage or something.
Oh,
You don't have to. No, it's all right.
Yeah.
let's do some.
We can go find it.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do some magic here.
Okay, you posted it to the chat, and I don't have the chat open.
Oh, I don't see it in the group chat though.
Oh, there it may come up. No? I don't see it there. Wait for it.
Whoa.
Well, what? That was
He's just
profound.
multiplying.
He's cloning.
Do you see any
Oh
of
my
this?
goodness.
Oh. Mm.
Okay.
Do I see what? I see blackness.
Is that the right one?
I don't know. They're
I
both.
see one with a yellow head with a yellow what's it's on it.
What?
Okay.
Are we supposed to see something?
We're seeing a printed what is that, a DeWalt mount with an inverted Z-axis motor.
Where
Is
are
that
you
what
seeing
we're
this?
supposed to be seeing it?
Where are you seeing this?
It popped up in its own window.
That was actually part of the over in the Hangouts chat.
Was that where that was at?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, and then it died.
Okay.
Duct tape?
Hey, you can never have enough duct tape.
Oh, you guys leaving? Sorry.
That's weird. Slideshow. 1 of 1. Tony.
Huh.
Well, that's definitely Eve's photo.
Yeah, I don't see a photo showing up in our chat anywhere, but it's kind of weird.
Well, I had in the chat, I had a box open with a picture in it. That,
Here, I'll put it in the video chat window.
Oh. Oh, I see. So that's, yeah, so he's got, so that's how I had my Shapeoko originally. It's very similar to that. He's got his video going too. Hold on, present to everyone. There you go.
I turned his camera on. Camera on.
Bandwidth.
Yeah.
Bandwidth, yes.
He's only got 50 megabits.
Yeah. Per second, yeah.
Only?
Huh?
Well, he's fiber to the house, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah, that's how I had my Shapeoko when I first had it too. That seemed to work out pretty well.
What?
You can unmute yourself. I didn't mean to make you have to use sign language.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted over there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all this time I was talking and god damn it.
Yeah, go back to square one.
Okay, what I was saying is I have the old Shapeoko 2 plate, so there's enough clearance on the inside to run the jag chain through it. But on the X-Carb, that's not possible at all.
No.
So I'm assuming that's why they have it. And it's kind of weird because they have it going out like this, which I don't know how it's able to hold up its own weight.
Yeah.
But on the other end, I have a short piece of 2020 coming out of the side. This hole was already here. And I'm running the drag chain attached to that with some T-nuts. So that's why I have that extra hole on that plate, is to accommodate that. And then the DV25 to breakout thing, and then the DV15 will completely replace all of that. Remember those things I sent you a while ago?
Yeah. Yeah, so you are going to try those?
Yeah, I have them. They came a while ago. So, yeah, that should clean up a lot of this crap.
Yeah. I do like it in the center like that. That way you don't have anything hanging off the back. But
nope. And then I have, oops, ow, almost tripped over my own damn mic. Then I have this piece of aluminum in between, so the drag chain actually sits on that.
Oh, nice.
So, like I said, there's tons of clearance in the Shapeoko 2 plate, but not that much on the X-Carb one, so I'm not sure.
Very little.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't so keen about changing these out. I kind of like this setup.
Yeah.
Well, you don't seem to be having many problems with it, so.
No, currently not, no. I mean, I may make another plate that's narrower, so it'll give me a little bit more left and right, and then move these, the end stops in some, because there's no holes here, but there is conveniently a long slot here, so that's where these guys are mounted. But, and then I made, well, with the C-beam, I won't need to do these anymore. I'll have some other plating. But, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Thanks.
whoa.
I actually did a vertical bracket to mount a sensor vertically. Let's see here. Where is it? I think.
Oh, the one thing I didn't show you, but I'll take a picture of because the video will be kind of stupid. I actually put the tool sensor embedded into the bed. Which that's redundant, but. Okay, I need a longer headphone.
Oh, the touch plate for the tool?
Yeah,
For the tool length offset? Oh, okay.
Finally mounted that about a month ago, and it works like a damn champ.
Yeah. Especially if you've got a routine that once you get the tool in and hit go again, that it goes over and goes down and measures the tool and then raises back up, moves over to your work and starts chewing away at it again.
Yep, and I got these collets that go around the end mill, so they're all the same height when they go in. So
Nice.
it knows the difference where the collet is. I had to touch the collet onto the touch plate so Linux CNC knows where there's no tool, and then I add the tool, and then in the tool database it knows the offset of each tool.
Right.
So when I do the tool changes, it tells me T, let's just say 6, and then I know what T6 is because it's labeled, and then plop, 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 plop. It's much faster versus zeroing each time.
I did this L bracket eaves.
Yep.
Just so that I can mount them vertically, because if I decide, I'm still toying, because you don't necessarily need two Baraxis because of the way you set it up to Linux CNC. That you're putting them in series anyway. So if you just have one Baraxis with a stop at either end, a little piece of metal for it to sense. So it's I think I just use a piece of angle iron or angle aluminum to do that with.
And that mounts on what? The end plates?
Yep, that would mount on the end plates. I haven't physically would mount in the existing holes that you have on the end plates. I actually did kind of have it in a design somewhere, but I don't know where I put it.
So what's the target?
So you've got like on the maker slide. So this would go on the x-axis end plates, and so in the maker slide that's on the Y, you've got those channels, and I would just put a nut in there with in that channel that this thing would sense, just a target.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that way you get away with just one sensor per axis.
Cool. And my whole story about min-max is that's how I wired it in the very beginning, and
yeah,
I don't want to unwire it, and I don't want to.
Well, and I may end up going the way you're going just because I don't have to deal with the bracket and make the bracket and these sensors, the inductive sensors, don't like coming at stuff at an angle like that. They like to approach it head on. They work better. Yeah. So I've already found that out with the smaller sensors. I just was wondering if these would work better, but we'll see. I'll probably just do it the normal way first.
Well, like I said, 24 volts and you'll be golden.
Yep, I got them. They came. I didn't know they were coming from China. It took them almost 20 days to get to me. But
wow.
Yeah,
they're cheap though.
They are. Yeah, like $5 each, $4.80 something a piece. Yeah. I think Tyler ordered a bunch of them too. I think he's putting them in too, the same ones. So.
Did he finally fix his machine?
Yeah. He got the new maker slide in. They sent it to him.
That's right.
He tapped it, got it all up. I think he's just been busy with school. Thanksgiving is coming, and then Christmas vacation, and I suspect we'll hear a little bit more from him after Christmas. But
VFD. I finally ordered it.
Oh, awesome! The spindle or
it's the spindle because I finally was able to fix the inverter.
Awesome.
So that's also ironically coming from China also.
What
2.2 kilowatts.
2.2.
Yeah, it's 80 millimeters in diameter, so it's still the same diameter, just a little taller.
Yeah, it's a lot taller actually.
It'll look
just
nice
a little heavier.
No, it's actually 1 pound heavier than the DeWalt.
Oh, wow.
Actually, 1.3 pounds heavier than the DeWalt.
Yeah, well, that shouldn't make any difference.
Nope. Now the question is with water in it. I don't know what that offset. But
That's a good point.
the dry weight is 1.2 pounds heavier than the DeWalt. No pun intended. But and like I said, when I first got the steppers for this thing, I went ape shit. So I'm pretty sure that my current setup will easily handle it. But for the, as David Jones would like to say, for the new players, that there's going to be some sort of disclaimer for that.
Yeah, right, yeah. You better have, no NEMA 17s here, guys.
No.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, even NEMA 34s at 140 ounce are a little weak.
Yeah, why would you do that? I'm not sure why you would do that. Unless you had to because your mounting was only that size, but I don't know.
Well, I think that Inventables did it because of the length of the distance underneath the Z-axis bracket to the top of the carriage was so small that they were limited to a stepper length of at 140 inch ounce, So.
Wait, Inventables carries NEMA 34s?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, not 34, 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said 34, and I'm like, what?
Did I say 34? Oh, my bad. My bad.
That was way more than the entire X car.
Yeah.
One.
IPM, PM, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Even NEMA 23s actually, not 24s. They're 23s.
Hey, Marvin just posted that that G-code optimizer that we had on the forums, and I think I might have got that off of your site originally, Marvin.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, John, it was that I asked Andrew. For me to make this site interesting, I have to, when I'm free, what I'll do is go on like GitHub or one of those and search.
Yeah, you are prolific. I mean, I look for stuff, and I look, and then I go to your site. You've already got it up there for like a week. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. So, like, I would do find things on GitHub and things like that. So, Andrew is a person that I speak to all the time when I have a little problem, and before I start to talk to you guys, I always talk to Andrew. So I saw this guy was doing something for 3D printing. And I'm like, ooh, Andrew, can you do this and change it up and make it make sense and And he's like, Marvin, give me 24 hours and I'll have something up and running. And in 24 hours, he had something up and running.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this that optimizer that we're talking about?
Yeah. So did you have any luck with that? I never heard what you, because I had you do some tests on it, Dave. Did they seem like it did any difference?
No. Well, I could never get it to load any of my my
it works
code.
now. It works.
Does
No,
it?
what happened is that when he just got it up, it was very basic. It only liked certain NCs. It only liked that it had spaces between the G code.
Oh, okay. It had
So,
trouble
like,
parsing some different G codes.
Correct. So when you have X, Y, and Z, some G code post processors don't have any spaces in between them.
Yeah.
And his own require that you have a space. So all of those things he and I were talking about, and we kind of fixed it. So it should be working now.
Oh, well.
All right. Well, I'll tell you in just a second.
Because it would be
Find
super
some
handy. That would, Tony. This would actually be handy to try with the Xcarve G code that you were said, that you were having the problems with, is to run it through this and see if it had any effect on the amount of operations, because it was pretty significantly different between the two.
What was the fix?
What's that?
The fix, because I saw the same thing as Dave. I couldn't get anything to work.
Yeah, the fix was that what happens is that when some post processors, when they run your G code and put the lines, they don't put spaces in theirs. His one was looking for a space between X, Y, and Z. So G0, and then
Okay, yeah.
and it looks for a space, and then it says, okay, the next space is Y, so I look for a space. So there's a lot of different post processors. So I said to him, hey, there's more than one post processing the way how they align G codes, and then he was putting your original at the top and then the optimized at the bottom. And I said, no, you can't do that. You just have to delete it and put the optimized only. And you took out the M3 codes and the M4 codes, and he fixed that. And so it's a work in progress. No, I think it's there now. So if you try it now, it should work.
Curved links, curved links, curved links, curved link, curved link. Come on. Shove. Pittman, 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 Pittman. Servo swing.
So it's just called the salesman.
This could be fun to run on Amazon compute services.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Swing link.
So
All right, why can't I find?
I attempted to load a G code, and it one of the most complicated things I have, and it didn't do right.
All right, so when you load it, what happens? Then you click start.
It just shows me some random pattern.
Random dots, right?
Yeah. So once random dots, when you click start, and it starts to link the dots together.
Yeah, but they're not the dots on my code.
No, it has nothing to do with your code. This is just a visualization. So once it's all the patterns, what it's trying to do is it's a salesman, so it's trying to pick the codes beside each other. So instead of going all the way 10 inches from one side and come back and cut here and then making a pocket there and then coming back here, it's trying to make everything more smarter.
So all it's doing is generalizing tool paths that are near each other.
Correct. And say, hey, this is to optimize your tool path so your things become smarter the way how it's done. So once you start it, you run for 30 seconds. So what you'll see these lines connecting, and when you feel that the pattern looks like they're not crossing each other, then you click stop. And we click stop, then you just click save optimized code, and it just saves it immediately to your downloaded file. So yeah, the process he has it is not the greatest, and I think we have to kind of talk it through a little bit more. So you just pick up the file and click start, and you see optimizing.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, we'll have to see. It'd be curious to see between two different jobs, one with it and one without it, if there's any difference in operationals in time.
Yeah, I'm opening up OpenSCAD right now so I can see the difference between the two.
That's an interesting program.
Yeah.
You like it, OpenSCAD?
Yeah, when I'm super unsure about G code, yeah.
Oh, really? I've played it a couple times, but I don't know much about it. But people write stuff in it.
OpenCam.
OpenCam. I'm like OpenSCAD is for writing.
Yeah. No.
Programming. I'm like.
Yeah. That's,
OpenCam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've known people that have written stuff in OpenSCAM, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. OpenCam. It visualizes G code.
Yeah.
So really all it did was just change where the rapids are.
Yeah,
So it just changes. It doesn't change. It changes like the order that the holes are done, or no?
Well, okay. So for example, I have Happy Birthday Mike, 40th birthday, and then I have a pocket for an LED. So in the first one on the left, Aspire starts cutting out the mic, and then it jumps down to 40th, and then it jumps over Happy. So what it actually chronologically goes from bottom to top. But the big thing that it changes is the rapids, where the rapids are. That's all.
All it deals with is rapids.
That's what it looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the run times would probably be different because now instead of going from this thing is I want to say 10 by 10, maybe 10.5 by 10.5. So if it's all the way at the top where I have 40 written really big and then it moves all the way to the bottom, yeah, that's time wasted. Of course.
Correct. So like, and that's the discussion he and I were having, because when I was using it before, I'm like, look here, I sit down at my CNC and I see a cut go from the top, then it goes all the way to the right, and then it comes back to the left, and I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you just didn't stay there and cut your pocket, finish what you're doing right there?
Yeah.
And So
You do know in
Oh.
Aspire you can change that, right?
where?
When you do the tool paths, you could choose. Oh shit! Let me remote into my machine real quick. You
Marvin,
could,
do that in easel just for a chuckle.
Do what?
Do something in easel and then look at the tool paths. It's insane.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This would be fun to do this from a job from easel. If somebody has an easel job that they could submit
Oh,
to.
I never used easel in my life.
yeah, nor have I. I
No,
looked at it.
don't do it.
Yeah, just say no.
If you're doing more than a pocket, a single pocket, don't do it.
You know what? Let me tell you. The first time I had a discussion with this, I used to use MakerCam. And MakerCam is horrible. It is bad. It goes all over the place. You're like, good Lord, come on, MakerCam. And so then I started to use Aspire, and it wasn't so bad, but I still complained, and that's where I was talking to Andrew, and I'm like, Andrew, this is that I can't get over this. How stupid whoever wrote this code to tell it to go from all the way to the right, way to the left, then come back, and then do the pocket here, and then clean here. That's stupid, you know. But he shows you what he's doing. If you read the top where it says generic algorithms,
Yeah. Yep.
he tells you what he's doing. So it's a PDF and tells you exactly how he's deriving of the data. So it's a good read.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool to see people thinking about that. I didn't realize that you were one of the ones that kind of got that going. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And a lot of things like these softwares, I will test them, and for the GitHub, like people doing, I will give feedback, and that's the only way for them to get better. The only way for people to continue to do open source, like Andrew, because he has no business to do it, but just to promote it as a, hey, you know what, I'm interested. And if I'm writing a software and nobody's interested, I won't write it. Agreed?
Yeah.
That's just human nature. So, for like an Andrew, which is so bright, you're always trying to throw things at him and try to give him feedback, and he enjoys it because,
Yeah.
it's
He's got
something.
he's got an interface for Gerbil too, a web interface for Gerbil. That's
Yeah, he has Gerbil that he and I worked on. He has that I used to use, but I don't use anymore because I use Universal G Code Center, and it's just
So-
I'm just.
What do you guys think about? I mean, I think we all know what we think about the current state of the Xcarve software, easel and that whole interface and Gerbil. I mean, it's not horrible. I wouldn't say that. I say it's maybe needs work. We'll leave it at that. But I think. Do you guys think that's the future of a desktop CNC? Is something like that?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you the reason why I think so.
Whether it's inventables or not. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
It has to be in the cloud, and I'll tell you the reason why it's good for the cloud. Because then you can start to have intelligence into there. So meaning that me, Marvin, now I have a CNC and I'm using a 2-bit. I don't have to go searching anywhere because Tony just used the same bit and tried it this way, and it's in the cloud. It's available. I don't have to upload and download a new database on my desktop. It's always available and it's always updated. So
well, that could work against you too in some aspects. So I mean,
No, but what it took, I would say it would take it from when you actually sent it. So
Yeah.
meaning that somebody can't trick the system by saying, hey, so when a person says send, EASL will take all the data and say, okay, I'll store this data and share it with others to say, hey, this is a recommendation because based on this person's cut,
Yeah.
That's funny because that's how Glowforge is planning to do their model for the cloud aspect for their laser cutter.
If my simulator is close on its timing. Unoptimized was 748.57.7. Optimized was 748.43.8. So it saved 11 seconds or something like that.
Interesting.
11 seconds
That's all.
for, we said 7 minutes?
No, well the overall cut time was 7 minutes.
What was the cam? What generated the cam?
Let's see. That cam was generated with. A second, I'll tell you. I think it's
No,
cam.
so you have to look at it in two ways. So you have to look at it if you are uploading that is a
Cam bam.
right,
Yeah.
something that is really optimized already. There's not much you can optimize.
Correct. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of that with CamBam or any of these high-end cam packages. I think you're going to see similar things. But if it was a like I said, Easel. I think Easel might show a little different.
Right. If you're using Easel or open source one or some other one that is that's free, they're really not caring about how they're not giving it the most efficient way.
So
here's a good
one.
I ran that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You ran, Tony. Go ahead.
I ran that NC file from Easel through the optimizer, and it improved it by like 3 seconds.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I would have guessed more.
Yeah.
So work in progress, I take it.
Well, it's the tool pathing is just so bad it can't be fixed.
That's it.
That could be the case. All right.
So quick, back to the other topic though. I don't disagree. I think Yves, you may disagree, but I don't know. I think it has to get. I mean, the using Linux CNC for this kind of stuff on the desktop is fringe. It'll never be. A lot would have to happen to that sort of environment to make it, ready for prime time, so to speak. But I think the likes of Easel, what they're doing, I think it's probably the right path. Whether Easel is it or not, or somebody, I suspect somebody will see what they've done with Easel and they'll go, oh, we could do this so much better by doing this, and I suspect that's what will happen.
Okay, so unfortunately, I stepped away for a second, and I guess that's what you're talking about. What CAD cam in the cloud?
Yeah, well, yeah. So what Inventables is doing with Easel, cam in the cloud, the CAD and cam in the cloud, versus, how I guess what you and I with Linux CNC, Dave with Linux CNC, versus the Gerbil kind of platform or whatever you want to call it, but that sort of technique where it's USB plugged in, connected to the cloud, submitting your design, basically hitting print. Whether that's the future or where's desktop going? I guess I would kind of probably agree that probably something like that is probably going to be the future.
Well, it's best in both worlds, right? So if you have a machine that that will never change, and you have users that don't understand feeds and speeds, then yes, that the machining type CAD cam or mostly cam in the cloud that makes sense, because that means they can import a vector and they go, I want to cut out Mickey Mouse's head. I want a pocket here, cut out there, and then that's it. It just does its thing. The caveat to that is that no offline modes whatsoever, right? You have to be connected. So if it's a machine that generates dust and you want to use it in your garage, you can't unless you have an active internet connection. And secondly, like Chili Pepper, unfortunately, it's okay, but they're doing so many changes in the back end that when something breaks on the front end, it hurts everybody. It's offline for a day or so, or a half a day. That's the problem.
Fusion has the same issues, right? I mean, they try to schedule their downtime. I think Fusion's going down tonight at 4 a.m. or this morning at 4 a.m.
But you can still use it in offline mode.
You can. Yeah, you're right.
That's the difference.
And I think all this stuff is in its infancy, and I think that'll change. I think, I suspect that they'll learn from mistakes, and other people will come along and do something differently that will be better.
What's really funny is, and as you know, I'm in the IT industry, and I'm in the world of downtime is a bad word.
You're looking for 5.9.
Yeah. So what we typically do is we have two systems. We have one system that goes down for maintenance, and we have a backup that we bring online.
Yep.
And then when everything is done, then we demote the backup and then promote the the one that went offline for maintenance. So in the aspect of Chili Pepper or Easel, now Chili Pepper is kind of a different thing because it's run by one guy or two guys, and they use Google Cloud Services. So whatever quota they're paying for, that's what they get, right? So they get into a paid model where it's a subscription fee. Then they could do that whole system where, okay, we have two infrastructures running. When one's down for maintenance or upgrades, they switch over to the other. So, and that's the other thing too. Is that something you're willing to pay for? Can you buy a machine that it runs off the cloud, but yet you have to pay a monthly service to get that type of uptime or SLA? I don't know, right? It's kind of a tough.
Do you think with Fusion, do you think the calculations for toolpath are done in the cloud, or are the calculations done locally for toolpathing?
No, locally, because I've done that stuff not connected to the net.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's benefits. Go ahead.
I plugged out my thing. Hold on. Yeah, headphones plugged out. Yeah. All right. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. So my thing, I think in this way. Who is your customers within the next 5 years, 10 years? Your customer is an unexperienced, doesn't know CNC, is new to the product, don't care about this old, backward Linux CNC that is, 10 years behind technology in terms of, interface. No, what I mean.
I would say 10 years behind in user interface.
That's what I'm saying. User interface.
Yeah.
Not in ability to do what it needs to do.
Yep.
So, the average consumer that will be using a CNC in the next 5 years or 6 years will never use Linux CNC. They want something like the Glowforge, where they just put on their desktop or they put it in the garage and they just say, print to the. Everybody has internet. My laptop doesn't have a way to plug into Ethernet. Everything is Wi-Fi nowadays.
Yep.
So you put it in a garage, you click print, and it just prints and cuts what you need to cut. That's where you're going to be in the next 5 years. Not this, you're not. The CNC business is not for the machinist anymore.
Well, I think there's.
So let's go on record and say Easel might be good in 5 years.
Yeah. So.
I think they're on the right path.
They're on the right path, and that's where they need to be. They will be where somebody just logs into their website, puts in information, picks their wood, picks everything, and it says print, and it sends it off. The printer, the X-Carve is in the garage. The laptop is in the person's hand, or they're using a tablet, and they click print. It's wireless. It's done. That's for the customers. If I were into the CNC business, I don't want to be looking at a shop. I don't want to look at a business that's doing. I want to look at the general consumer, because that's a bigger market and have to be negotiating for, a business in a shop.
Well,
do you think the home CNC market's big enough to support? That's the other thing.
It could be.
Yeah, do you think so? I wonder about that.
Well, okay, Home Depot was going to start carrying 3D printers.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Look at me. Let's put an example. I'll give you a perfect example for me. 3 years ago, I would never even dream of owning a CNC, because in my mind, a CNC was somebody that is doing for big business, doing machining in not even their house, doing machining, parts and selling. No, I have a CNC. I would have never dreamed of having a CNC. When I tell my father that he's 82 years old, that I have a CNC in my garage, he's like, a CNC in your garage? For what? And no, when he sees the ability of what he can do, he's like, whoa.
Beer carriers.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, this is impressive. So, I can tell you that a CNC in the next 10 years or 5 years is going to be like a 2D printer in a person's house. Everybody's becoming makers,
I hope so. I'd like to believe that. I really would. I wonder, there's so many things that are dependent on that. I'd like to believe that. I think that would be a wonderful thing.
I would like to have inventables.
But at the same time, I wonder about companies like HP and Epson that could steal this market in half of a heartbeat if they wanted to.
And they're not ready yet.
They have no desire.
No, not yet ready yet.
guys, it's all contingent on what the end user wants to make. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
If the end user is purely a hobbyist that wants to make um, signs and beer carriers and um, lots of other products out of wood and plastic and maybe some aluminum that only requires 2.5D to do, then um, the Inventables X-Carve is a perfect machine for that hobbyist. If it's a hobbyist like myself that does steam engines and internal combustion engines and Z drives and other things, I can use the X-Carve for some 2.5D frames for boats and everything else. But if I need something out of metal and need it right down to the gnat's ass, the thousandth tolerance, then it's going to go on the 770. And so it's all contingent on
Okay, so here's another
where that
question for you
hobbyist
then.
is at. Go
So
ahead.
so what about not the hobbyist? What about Philip, the machinist that I use here, or other job shops that are out there? Do you think companies like Tormach or Haas go to well, I don't know about Haas, but I could certainly see somebody like Tormach because they're so tied into CNC, but somehow maybe adopting some cloud features or cloud services for the professional machinist.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Well, I don't know about that because, for example, if you look at the Carvey, that's dedicated to something that's supposed to go on your desk. The 440 is something small that could fit into your garage. So
Yes.
if they made something like a 220 or a 410 that's even smaller than that, then I could kind of see them doing, hey, you know what? You give us basically the machine, the material in question, the end mills in question. We'll figure everything out for you. I mean, it's gonna happen, regardless if we like it or not.
I think you're right. I think it's right. It's inevitable. The cloud is where, Yeah.
And it almost makes sense because it's like, okay, I want to make this beer can opener, right? I don't really care about knowing feeds and speeds and harmonics and depth of cuts and width of cut. I don't want to know that. I just want to make this thing. So
and that's a pure hobbyist.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, what about prototypists or people that design stuff that want to make that part then before they can produce it to somebody else? They're not a machinist. They're the guy that designed it. So they don't care about feeds and speeds. They just want a prototype to show somebody. So
maybe that might be the case now, Dave. But I think Eves is on the right track. A lot of this is changing. I think as we see now. I mean, you think about 20 years from now. What is the life of a machinist like? I think about the guy that I use right now. What does his shop look like in 20 years? What does his workflow look like in 20 years?
It's all contingent on his market. Who he's selling to? Is he selling?
He's all military. This guy does defense contracts, but
right.
but in general, I think you could make some guesstimates, and I think cloud is definitely a proposition that's very probable.
It's definitely a possibility, and it's probably got some probability, but I don't see existing companies with rows and rows and rows of multi-axis CNC machines spinning out.
Yeah, but that's production. That's production, right?
Millions of dollars worth of product a year or a month or whatever.
But I think
going to a cloud-based thing. A startup?
Not in production, I would agree.
No, I think John is. I think John is aiming between prosumer and basically production. That person, above a hobbyist, but below production, and that basically.
And again, that would depend on what you're making, I think.
And there could be benefits to the cloud. I mean, I think about the power, the compute power that you could have on the other end of the cloud at the company. You think about parts that we're going to be able to make in 20 years that we can't even really think about right now. 5-axis, 6-axis, who knows where we could be, and being able to have the compute power at the other end to generate toolpaths could be a benefit. So I could, there's definitely possibilities out there.
No, for me, the software is a mute conversation. We will all get to the cloud one day. When the internet was when computers were originally developed, the thought was that nobody would have a big computer at home. The developer of computers were saying, hey, people will have a small little computer and everything will be in the cloud, and that would do all the hard processing and you send back. But what happens is that we don't have the link to this server in the cloud. Now that we have internet speeds people are using gigabytes. We're up, So for Tormark and all of them, what will happen? What's the difference if I have a Wi-Fi connection or I don't have a Wi-Fi connection? There's no difference. They still can make money. You want to access my software for that computer? Hey, you now need to log on to the cloud. End of the story. There's no different. Their model has not changed. Now they can say, okay, you don't have to pay $18,000 for the software. You can pay a subscription every month for $5,000 or $1,000 a month to access the software. End of story. I mean, I can see the model. That's just where most companies are going that way now.
Well, and you could say, and I think, Dave, I mean, I kind of get what you're saying about no, because a machine shop, I mean, like in production, I mean, they can afford no downtime. I mean, if the cloud was down and they couldn't work, then what? Well, but you have to understand in the IT world these days, so there's this measurement, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, Yves, but it's Six Sigma, right? They measure uptime in something called Six Sigma, and it's measured by, how many nines you have after the decimal point. And so Six Sigma is 6 nines after the decimal of uptime. 5 Sigma, 6 Sigma. So I think the possibility of having a shop where downtime isn't an option and still be cloud-based, I think that's very realistic. I think it's realistic now. I don't think the software is anywhere near there, but
the other concern, I think, and I see this on the Onshape forums, which is Onshape is a totally cloud-based CAD software. You download no software to your machine. Everything is out in the cloud, and I see a lot of people saying, "Ain't going there," because
I do too.
There's no guarantee that X number of years down the road, I've got literally thousands of designs, CAD designs, dedicated to storage in the cloud, and Onshape one day just says, "Sorry guys, bye."
Yeah. Do they let you download your own designs, right, as a design file of some sort?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no. All right. You can export your design as an IGS file, but you lose all the history of it. It just becomes a dumb file, right, Tony?
No, I think it also supports like parasolids and
Step 2, right?
well, yeah, step 2, but like I'll have to check that out because I'm pretty sure there's a format that keeps history.
Yeah, but even at that point, as long as you can export it, you're okay. I mean, the design history that's a crappy downfall of that, but as long as you can get it, you're
Well,
fine.
actually, for my workflow, the history just totally gets in the way.
Yeah.
But now, why does that matter? Because at the end of the day, okay, let's say I'm allowed to export it. I export it on my computer. My computer can crash too. So everything can crash. So as well as my computer can crash, the code can crash. My computer will crash quicker than their own will, because they have redundancies. They have backups. I don't have a backup on my computer unless I'm going to back it up onto another hard drive and then back up that hard drive and then back up on that hard drive and then back up another hard drive. You have to, at some point, you have to take the risk and say, look here, you know what? The possibility of me losing it unless I put it on a piece of paper and write it down, and then that could catch a fire. So so yeah, there's a point it is going to go to the cloud where I understand people's pushing to say, hey, this is not going to happen and it's not fair, but that's the way of it. Storing things in the cloud is safer than storing it on your desktop.
I use Backblaze on my computer.
Yeah, Jeeves can tell you your computer will crash quicker than their servers in the cloud. Amazon may have 1,000,001 different redundancies to make sure that they have your data safe. You don't have that at home. I'm sure if your computer crashes, it's done. All your designs are gone.
Yeah, but I think what we're trying to say here is that basically, okay, so you have a CAD CAM package that's in the cloud, right? You're doing everything there, and for some reason, this particular company closes their doors for financial reasons. The question is that if it was a paying service, what was their downtime, and what are they going to provide to you to move your whatever you're working on to another service, or run it in something locally, like for example, SolidWorks.
Yeah, but if you had Tormac and you have a Tormac machine, and Tormac has a cloud-based service, it's your Tormac machine. If Tormac machine goes, then they will have maybe their offline software or whatever they have. But I'm not.
So basically, you're saying that the CNC manufacturer would provide a cloud service, no third parties.
Yes, yeah. So my apologies. I thought we're talking about based on the owner of the CNC machine, the proprietor of that CNC machine, in Tormac or whoever they are, will start going cloud-based because it just makes more sense to them from a revenue standpoint, because they can now charge on a monthly fee. They can start updating easier. They can make changes on the fly. They can look at their customers and see what their customers are printing.
I think that's a very likely scenario. How they implement it could look different. It could be just start as drive space. You store your designs up there. I don't know. I could see that possibly. Yeah.
Well, and now this is the part that's kind of interesting too. And I hate to bring up Glowforge again, but what they do is that
you're biased because you're getting one.
No. Trust me. I did my homework. So.
I'm just ribbing you. It's all right.
Just hear me out. So what's interesting for them is that they're actually generating the motion control part in the cloud too. Just think about that for a split second.
Yep.
So you have steppers, and that's it. There's absolutely no brains in the machine at all. Right? So everything is being generated by the Glowforge cloud service. Everything. Now, the fail-safe for them is they've open-sourced the firmware completely. Right. In case of something that does happen, then you can create it in a way where you could use local software, or if you're like me, John, or anybody else, you just rip out the guts and then put something standard like Linux CNC in it.
There you go.
But at the end of the day, they're incorporating the cost of the cloud service into the machine. So there's no monthly service. But still, you have to trust them to survive some predisposed amount of time, because you're dropping in like 2 bills or 4 bills that they're going to survive 5-6 years. You're going to get your money's worth out of the machine. So
yeah. You have to think about it this way. When I was 15 years old, there was no internet in my mind. There was no internet. And I didn't know what was going on. 15, 14, there was no internet. Now, after 20-something years, there's now something called internet that I would have never imagined there's a cloud and all of this thing. Everything was done on your PC, and things are changing,
Yep. Yeah, they are. So I think we would all agree that desktop, prosumer, that's probably going to be cloud-based. It just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The prosumer, the guy who's doing prototypes for a service, it's hard to say. I don't think it's far-fetched to think of a company like a Tormach to do something like that. I mean, I could see the arguments against it because there's, it's not their business, the whole IT back end of it. When I was on the call with John Saunders from NYC CNC, he had mentioned that. So he started NYC CNC started training classes. He's going to have his own training classes. They're $700, I think, for 3 days. You have to fly there and pay for your own hotel room, but it's all Fusion and Tormach training, and no experience necessary. But Tormach has no desire to be in that business. They don't want to train. They just want to make machines. So you're going to have companies like that. But I don't think it's a far-fetched to say that Linux CNC, because of Tormach, could evolve into something more cloud-based. Not maybe entirely, but more as time goes on. Because I think we'd all agree it's inevitable. We're heading there.
I'll give you an example. My kids have one Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
They don't buy games like how I used to buy a game on an
No.
Atari. They buy it in the cloud. So they're sitting in another country. They buy it in a cloud, and it's immediately available. And they're playing against kids that are in another country, and we're worried about, it crashing, or we're worried about server access. They have it 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it's running.
Yeah.
And they're processing.
There's a lot of money at stake there, though, so it would have to be. There's money at stake there.
There's
all
three
dollars. Go ahead.
One quick thing about the Xbox thing. First off, that's Microsoft. That's one, first and foremost. Secondly, they have one of the third largest data centers on this planet. That's two. Thirdly, that's all based off of Azure. I don't know if you know what Azure is, but that's their equivalent to like Amazon. Is it AWS?
Yep.
Yeah.
So they have some serious computing power on the back end. Thirdly, what's crazy about the Xbox One is it does all of that virtually. So yeah, they're installing something in the game, but the game is not running locally on the console. It's running on a server somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain. That it's running somewhere out there. Your little console is just your client to connect to the server.
Yeah, it's like a remote desktop session. But
so you take something like the Xbox and turn it into a CNC box. What's the difference if it's playing a game or machining a part?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get into. Is you have a little box.
1/1000th of an inch.
Yeah.
It's all doable, I think, Dave. I really think. I think it is.
Well, we're talking about motion control software, not the actual machine in question. The accuracy is the machine in question, not
right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, all you're sending data to the machine. It's taking my Gerbil, like the other day, the TB6560, this little small little machine. All I'm taking, and I have to run it through my computer. All my computer will be connected to this little box that's now connected to the cloud. My machine stays the same. I still have these, NEMA 17s or NEMA 23s. Everything stays mechanical, hardware. Mechanically, things stay the same.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing to think about too, Dave, is that, if we're talking online stuff, it's not like every single operation it like goes from your machine to the cloud, back to the machine to the cloud. There's a cache involved that I think the likelihood would be more like the operation, the entire job would go to the cloud. It would calculate the tool paths, send it to your machine, which would then execute those tool paths. So the execution, I think, all happens locally at that point. That would seem to make sense.
It's a good example. You guys will Google this one. It's called Octoprint. I use it for my 3D printer.
Yep. So
it's in the cloud. It's not really in the cloud. It sits on my Raspberry Pi. And I just load up my website or browser. I go there, I connect to the printer. This little Raspberry Pi is connected to my printer, and I do everything on it from my browser. And all intelligence is in the Raspberry Pi in terms of connecting to it, sending the data, pulling the data, sending the data. It caches the data, as you said, and I do nothing. I can close my browser, and it's no big deal. It's already sent in queue. The browser is just basically a display.
Yeah, well, that's the browser is a terminal window.
Yeah. I mean, I see where you're going with the Octoprint, but Octoprint's slightly different because you're doing the slicing local in your machine. You're taking the G code, sending it to Octoprint, and the Octoprint, its little minions do and execute the code directly to the printer. But yeah, I mean, it's a low-powered device that's direct attached to your machine in question, and it's handling the grunt work. I get it, but I mean, I don't disagree with it. I think it's inevitable. But I mean, my only instance was the instance I had with Chili Pepper, where they were doing updates, and that updates was preparing what I could do that day. And I have machine days where, like, on Tuesday and Wednesday, that's all I'm doing. I'm ripping stuff out for the weekend. And that particular instance in Chili Pepper, they did something where, what is it called, the SPJS, the serial port JavaScript something or other. They changed something on the website, and that prevented it from talking. And then I was screwed for 2 days.
Chili Pepper, I used it one time,
There you
and
go.
I thought it was too difficult for me to use. I'm like, look, this is too. If this is, they need to simplify it, you know. And then Edward, the owner or the person that invented the Sheipoku, he left on a forum when it just came out. He says, okay, this is too difficult to understand. The average customer, I would love to see what Sheipoku's customer base is based on first-time CNC. Just too difficult. When you make it too difficult, nobody wants to use it. Simplify it.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it has gotten better. It's just that the problem I'm having is I'm looking for consistency. Now, with that argument, it just depends on the person that's running the service, right? So somebody like Easel may have a stringent, okay, our maintenance window is this, our update path is this. John, the single guy that runs Chili Pepper,
Making no money from it, just a name.
But he kind of just dropped the updates kind of whenever, right? So that's the argument. It's like, if you... I see where you're going because you're saying Tormach because they're a bigger name.
Right.
They can't afford that type of downtime. They can afford the type of IT infrastructure that will be needed to keep the SLA up to 99.999999999, etc., 5%. But I don't know. I mean, it's good, and it sometimes can be bad, right? It just depends what you're doing and who you are. If you're a hobbyist, it's no big deal. Oh, okay, I'll cut it tomorrow. But if you're a business that just prototypes parts and you have a manufacturer, or you have somebody who approaches you, say, hey, I need to prototype this part so I can show it to this person in VP or whoever, and then they have to decide, okay, yes or no, and then they have to take it to the person that has to figure out how to machine it. That's different because there's money involved, right? That person paid that person to prototype the part. That person has to take that, show it to somebody who has to okay it. It's a whole different ballgame, right?
What's the average price for a Tormach machine?
Average price?
Yeah.
I've got about 12 grand in my 770. 1100s fully loaded will run you about 15 grand. That's with tool changer and power drawbar. 440s are running about 7 grand.
Okay, so with that said, so it's no less than 7 grand. I heard so far. So Tormach,
You can get down to less than 7 grand, but
Everything you want would be 7 grand.
right?
Yeah.
So let's say 7 grand is the entry point to get into a Tormach. Most of those people that are buying a Tormach machine is not buying it for a hobbyist, for the fun of it. They're buying it for a business to make money. Agreed?
No.
Hobbyists are spending 7 grand.
I spent 12 grand for a hobby machine.
Ask Eves and I what we've spent on digital cameras over the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And
you have prosumer cameras. You have prosumer cameras that are 5 grand. That
I agree.
that people will buy in a heartbeat.
Yeah, a 60-inch or a 70-inch 4K, TV is a difference than a Tormach. A Tormach machine is just totally different than a camera,
It is, but it comes down to disposable income. If that's what you're into, and you have the money, you're gonna buy it. I mean, if I had $8,000 sitting around that I could spend whatever I wanted on, let me tell you, I'd be up in LA right now.
Yeah, and I said the same exact thing. If my hobby wasn't paying for my hobby, there would be a 440 sitting right over there right now.
Washer, who needs them?
Cause the reason why I say that, because I would like to know what their market growth is in terms of how much customers they acquire over a monthly, new customers.
I guarantee you that the hobbyist market was something they were thinking of with the 440.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it was.
Yep.
And they're probably, we can't get any records, but they're pre-selling right now, and I'll bet you they're selling like hotcakes.
Yep.
Well, put it this way: they showed up in New York at Maker Faire. Maker
Yeah.
Faire is hobbyists, so they know who they're pitching to.
Well, they had one at Little Machine Shop up in what did I send you that link, John? Where are they at?
Oh yeah, LA area, up in
Yeah,
LA.
up in the LA area here on the
So
back in a
let
ways.
me throw something else into this conversation then, and that is the concept of. Are you guys familiar with a company called Shapeways?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've
Okay.
dealt with them for years.
So
Bought a lot of stuff from them.
So what about where does that market go? I mean, I could see somebody with a shop of CNC routers, 5-axis, 4-axis, or 5-axis, 3-axis, whatever, where you submit your job and it's printed and it's sent to you. Is this something that? I mean, I could see that taking off totally,
Yes.
especially for the
Let me
small
see
pro.
if I
If you
can
want something prototype.
find-
Well, I'm sure they exist. I guarantee you something like that already exists, but it's not.
Not
I
so
think
easily made that available.
I think Shapeways has done a really good job in what they do.
Well,
I've
yeah.
actually gotten a few things from them.
Okay, I'll give you guys an example of Shapeways. I mean, you see, let me get back to where I can see my
Oh, that
camera.
came from Shapeways. Yeah, here I'll present.
All the
That's-
prototypes,
Yeah.
for this came from Shapeways. All right. I built did the CAD for the lower unit, the CAD for the nozzle, and the CAD for the propellers. All right. I sent all three of these files to Shapeways, and they printed me prototypes of each of the pieces, and then I took them and used them to make silicone molds and waxes of each of the parts that you see, and then had them cast. So Shapeways is
You got to
great.
admit, guys, it's a pretty awesome time we live in when you think about what we can do sitting on our butts, even in our underwear if we want to, or worse.
Pajamas.
It's just cool. I mean, it really is. Regardless of where it goes, I think it's heading into some cool directions. It's going to be awesome to see where it ends up in 20 years.
Yeah. And
It's so cool.
I think it's going to go bigger than we think, because you know what? The other day I was saying to myself, Marvin, think about it this way. You hear
Take me
about
off
all of these.
present, John.
What's
you
that?
hear.
Take me off present.
Oh,
Eh,
well, you don't like to be front and center, okay?
No.
You'll hear all of these things where they talk about maker fairs, maker fairs, maker fairs. 10 years ago, there was no maker fairs. 20 years ago, there was no maker fairs. 30 years ago, were maker fairs. Maker fairs are bringing a lot of people into the fold to become hobbyists that were never hobbyists before. Learning Arduinos, learning how to, write little small programs, switching on lights, turning on LEDs, getting CNC.
It's taken the place of I don't know what it's like in Jamaica, but in here, in the U.S. in schools, we used to have woodworking classes.
Right,
metal
shop.
we don't. There's none of that anymore. The schools have dropped all of that stuff.
Somebody might get hurt.
Yeah. It's insurance liability and lawyers and lawsuits. That's really what it comes down to. But it's sad. But I'm glad that there's. When I lived in Minneapolis, I was very involved with a hackerspace out there called Twin City Makers. Twin City Makers, their space is actually called the Hack Factory, and it's unbelievable. I mean, no matter what you wanted to do, you could find somebody there that could help you do it, it, or could help you figure it out. And I think this is great because where else is our kids going to get this stuff? And not even kids. I mean, to me, 52 or 53. I don't know, whatever. Where do we go to learn this stuff? YouTube is only good for so much for me. I can only, I kind of got to get my hands on at some point.
Well, and the makerspace, you're sharing equipment.
Yep.
All right, that's the big thing. I obviously don't need a makerspace
You have
because
one.
I have my own. All right, and I live too damn far away from Vancouver and Portland and everything else to make driving there economical.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people in Vancouver and Portland and Beaverton and the surrounding area and everything else that don't have a shop out and back, all right, but would like to dabble in whatever, be it CNC machining or welding or foundry work or glass, making stained glass windows, doing ceramics. It just about name a hobby, and there's a maker space for it.
Well, not even a hobby, a profession. Name a trade.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like it's cool to be a maker, meaning that I would assume that. I mean, I'm only 43, so 10 years or 20 years ago, I didn't know what a maker. Your maker was your dad. You sat in his garage and he made something, and
yeah, the consummate maker.
Yeah. So, but no. The maker is that you can join a club and you're all makers and you can go on the internet and you can Google something instantaneously and you can find how to do this, and so it's going quicker than you even imagine, And so I think the maker world is growing, and CNC. I would think if I went to what's his name again, the owner of Inventables,
Zach.
If I went to Zach and say, if you asked all your customers what percentage of them were the first time CNC owners, I would say more than 50% would say the first time.
I would agree.
Probably closer to 80%.
Oh.
So he has he has created a market for himself. Now, the question, and maybe an off question, is that he has taken Shapeoku. What happened to Shapeoku 3?
No, Zach has nothing to... Zach.
I know he had nothing to do with it, but what happened to Shapeoku 3 now?
Well, it's still there, but it's not open source like it was supposed to be. Eves, you had some comments on that, I think.
Well, correction real quick. So what really paved the way for the X-Carve was the Shapeoko, and the Shapeoko was Edward Ford. Right. Edward Ford teamed up with Inventables so he could sell it through there. There obviously was some kind of fallout because now Edward Ford does not associate anything with Inventables. And then he went off to Carbide?
Yes, Carbide.
Carbide to do the Shapeoko 3. The fanfare for the Shapeoko 3, what happened to that? I have no idea. One of the big things is that he promised that it was going to be open source. It never was. He was going to sell the extrusions separately. He never did. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I go to their website every now and then because obviously I still have a Shapeoku 2 and a Shapeoku 1, so I continue. But every time I go to the website or to the forum, it says Shapeoku 3 is out, and I'm like, this is the most annoying thing. And
yeah, they haven't fixed the website yet. It always, no matter when you go to their site, it does that. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is annoying. And that was a question I wanted to ask earlier. Not to change the subject. I was like, know that X-Carve is out there in the market, and I mean they are the dominant player in the market. Hey, Shapeoku has just disappeared to nothing,
So Eves, who is the guy who sold Improbable Constructs, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I looked at my invoice. I got his Z-axis upgrade, which was basically an Acme screw and a plate.
Yeah, same thing. I got that.
I looked at my invoice from that I got from him. So he must have worked for Shapeoko because the invoice was from Shapeoko.
Yeah.
I thought he was independent.
Nope, because he ran the cart. And then a while, sometime after that, then the cart was separated.
Right.
And then now it's like a Weebly type thing. It's a separate, like, one of those.
And he doesn't reply to anything. I've sent him mail about different things, and so he doesn't reply to anything anymore. So he's
Really?
clearly distanced himself from whatever's going on there.
I emailed him about. Oh no. Oh, that was about a month ago because I needed more of the Acme nuts, and he said, "Yeah."
That's exactly what I emailed him on, and I never got a reply.
Oh.
I need some of them. I could use 2 of them.
Do you want me to email them for you?
just get, if you get some, get like a bunch of them so that we've got them, because I need 2.
Okay. Well, that was the reason why I emailed him, and he says, "Yeah, I have a handful," so that means he's not getting them made, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. So if you get some, because I could use 2, at least 2, because nobody else sells them in that size. I've looked.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a custom size either.
Because when you go on the internet and you look for Shapeoko 3, it's non-existent. It's the X-Carb just dominates. Unbelievable domination.
Okay, so my argument to that is that, hey, if you hand out free units to a bunch of people, you'll get a bunch of fanfare too.
Yeah, but you got to hand it. Okay, I agree that they should have given out so they gave out so many that it affected them being able to ship X-Carves to people who paid. That's why all the delays is because they were giving so many of them away. I don't agree with that. I think they kind of lost sight of things there. Do I think they should be giving some away for people for reviews? Absolutely. It's marketing 101. I mean,
or to random websites that don't do crap with CNC stuff.
No, but they gave us.
All you have to do is watch the Keith. So Keith Fenner got one. You've watched Keith Fenner. Watch his review, and it's clearly well. So we're on broadcast here. I'm actually going to stop the broadcast here, guys.
We're
we're way over time. All right, everybody who was ever watching, thanks.